Hello and welcome back once again to a delayed video. My name is Bridger Frederick. If you've been following along, I'm on a 180-day challenge, and the most important goal of that challenge is to post a video to YouTube every single day. And I've failed to do so once again for about 4 more days. It's about day 84. The last video I posted was about day 80, but I actually just posted it today. So these videos are going to kind of fall back to back. It's going to be a little bit confusing. This is basically, let's say, day 81 through day 84. The reason that I've failed to post is I've just been living in mind chaos, if I'm going to be completely honest. And I have an apprehension to share what I've been thinking about and share what I've been up to, just because it's been quite a confusing experience for me, and at the risk of sounding completely insane. But I've realized that the truth is more important than how I feel, and that it's just important that it be expressed regardless of what people may think. It'll just resonate with people that it resonates with, and anyone else can just go on thinking whatever they think. But basically, I've been, my girlfriend and all my roommates are out of town. I've been home alone for a few days and have been really intensely practicing breath work. I've decided with 100% certainty that breath work is the foundation which all the other pillars of health rest on. Not just breath work like active, doing specific breath work meditations and things like that, but just learning to breathe properly, 24/7, training yourself to breathe properly while you sleep. I don't think you can make any more meaningful stride in your health than that. I think it is the start of everything. So I've been diving fully into that, and what I've been doing, and I want to say I just watched a video this morning about the Wim Hof method being extremely dangerous and what you should do before you go into water. And I have done that innumerable times. I've done, alone, in ice baths, in water, hyperventilation methods. This is prior to ever training freediving that I did this. I did not know how dangerous it was. And basically, I'm doing a variation of the Wim Hof method, or, a hyperventilation in the sauna. And so I'm just going to say right now, it's probably not recommended. It's probably quite dangerous. Should certainly not do it alone. But I'm doing it anyways, knowing that I have practiced the method for almost 10 years now, doing hyperventilation in the sauna. I have gone unconscious previously in the past when I was living in Africa doing this method, and just was luckily not hurt seriously, because knowing what was going to happen, I positioned myself in a way where I would just fall backwards or kind of fall sideways, not face plant onto a concrete floor in a 200-degree sauna. And so, especially being paralyzed and doing it alone like I am doing it, it's certainly not recommended. I advocate against anyone else doing it, just for your own safety. I don't want anyone to get hurt, replicating something that I'm doing. But I also want to be honest about what I'm doing, because it's having substantial benefits. I enjoy it. I like it. I've done it for 10 years, and I have never gotten seriously injured doing it. But all that little disclaimer aside, what I've been doing is basically a hyperventilation practice, listening to a friend of mine's breathwork practice, which he certainly would not recommend doing in the sauna, I think. But basically, it's just a breathing method where you're like, and from what I understand, you're breathing off all of the CO2 in your body, and it's kind of shutting down your prefrontal cortex, and you're kind of just operating in your limbic system. And I'm coupling that with some new kind of beliefs or reading I've been doing about about souls, about our souls, what happens after death, and about the existence of a spirit world. So just put aside all of your own, whatever your religious tendencies are, because I think this story basically fits into, most, some version of the story fits into most religious beliefs, whether, except if you're a hardcore atheist. But basically, I've been reading this book called The Journey of Souls. I can't remember the name of the author off the top of my head, which I feel guilty about because I want to attribute his work to him, but it's called The Journey of Souls. And it is basically, he's doing hypnosis regression with past life hypnosis regression with patients, and they in that regression they describe living past lives, and mostly he focuses on the time in between past lives where they're in a spirit world, basically, where all of us live as spirits or souls, whatever you want to call it, eternally, and then we reincarnate onto Earth. And I just allowed myself to, this is what I do with everything in life. I allow myself to, whether I'm reading the Bible, the Quran, whatever it is that I'm studying, the Bhagavad Gita, whatever it is, I'm going to believe it with 100% fervor, and then test the hypothesis out in the world. If that's what I do when people tell me things. That's what I do when I hear people's stories. I just accept them as 100% truth, and then kind of allow myself to test it out in the world that way. And so I'm reading this, believing it with 100% certainty that basically there is a spirit world, and we live, eternally in that spirit world. We reincarnate continually onto Earth, and that essentially there is no hell. Everyone goes to this spirit world, and then, if you've committed and done evil, you have a different learning progression, or you get put into a more rigorous recalibration or learning scenario. And if you do good and you're leveling up, you go a different direction. But it's all based on learning and progression and love. And you're basically, summarizing this super quickly, you live in like soul clusters where you're with certain groups of souls for millennia or many lifetimes, and you're kind of all interconnected, and you're in different incarnations on Earth. You may or may not meet each other when you are in human form. And so that's the premise of this book. And so taking this, imagining that this is 100% true, I took this belief into meditations, into this breathwork sessions that I was doing in the sauna. And when I would kind of reach, peak prefrontal cortex shutdown, thinking brain shutdown, I would try to connect with, my supposed soul clusters or guides, or it goes into how each of these clusters has like guides that lead them, and you have like spiritual guides that are trying to help you and allow you to level up throughout your existence. And in doing that, I have had the most insane experiences that I've ever had in my entire life, bar none, way more intense than, any psychoactive compounds that I've ever done, anything else. And maybe not more intense, maybe the wrong word to use, because I've had some very intense experiences on psychoactive compounds, but these are more short-lived, certainly way shorter-lived, but they're way more poignant. They're way more accurate. They're like these intent, because when you do psychoactive compounds of any sort, you get hit with these massive truth, so almost an overload of truth and understanding and clarity that is really hard to kind of take with you afterwards, even with assimilation and stuff, and some really intent practices. It is hard to take a lot of it with you, whereas this, it can't really be left behind. I was just hit with overwhelming numbers of things that I'd never realized before, and for the first time in my entire life, I felt certain that I wasn't alone. I had this incredible amount of comfort. I felt like I could draw from an infinite well of like beautiful, positive source power, that there was in fact, entities, beings, souls, spirits, whatever you want to call them, looking out for me and acting as guides and helping me, kind of level up and feel you whole again and feel better about things that have happened. And my ultimate realization was, that I have to, live out my truth, no matter how painful that is over the course of time. Have to basically, come up against everything, pay reprimand for all of the negative things that I've done in life in the past and make amends for all of that. And it's just been really, really intense and really hard to comprehend, to be honest. And I think the reason that I wasn't making videos, I only now am realizing this in real time as I'm speaking. The reason that I wasn't making videos is because I just wanted to talk about more surface level stuff. I didn't want to talk about, trying to access the spirit world or, souls and reincarnations and religion and stuff like that. I just want to talk about breath work and exercise and diet and all the easy things, but, just at the risk of sounding completely insane or being judged. And now I'm realizing that's the whole point. You have to, you just have to be honest and take the judgment, take whatever comes your way from it. If not honesty, then what value do I have? If not truth here, then what value do I really have? And I'm not, fully ready to share every truth about my past and my life and the worst things I've ever done and, publicly. And that's all right. That's getting to that point is the journey. Getting to the point where you're so comfortable with yourself and your message and your life and your path and what you need to do, that you're able to just be 100% transparent about everything. We hold everyone to this imaginary standard that they should be somehow 100% transparent all the time and with just everyone, but it's not that way. It starts out with just being able to be 100% transparent with one single person in your life. And I think that is really rare. I'm sure there's people out there that do it, but I certainly have not attained that, level of belief in myself or comfort. My core trauma in life from childhood, since as long as I remember, since I was 5 or 6, my core trauma caused me to have a belief deep down inside that I was unworthy of love. If anyone ever truly knew who I was, they wouldn't love me. If they'd known that, like, I believed since I was like 5 years old that I was basically innately bad or evil. And so, yeah, that of course it's going to take time to unravel that and, get rid of that belief. And that's exactly what I'm doing here by just, sharing the truth, talking about crazy stuff, talking about spirits and the spirit world. But I think if you actually just take it as a story, believe, just test things out in your own life without resistance. I think it's really important to do that, and just take this story that there is a spirit world, there is guides and souls who love you and that you have access to through deep quietness, through deep meditation, and just by shutting down your thinking mind, and whether it's through breath work, exercise, whatever it is, there's lots of ways to shut down through the flow state, shut down your, thinking mind, and just be intensely focused on, mindfulness, your body and what's going on. If you do believe that you have access to these guides or entities or things that you've been connected with for time immemorial, and that they will grant you information, if you just believe that's true, whether or not it actually is, it kind of becomes irrelevant, because it seems to happen. You seem to get love, guidance, and knowledge. And if you're, a staunch atheist, this can just be through belief. You can just believe that it's through a construct that you're creating inside of your subconscious to, access your own eternal truths that you're not willing to admit to yourself, through your own volition as your ego, or whatever it is that we talk to inside of our own heads, ego. You're just accessing, these own truths inside layers of your mind. So it works, the method works whether or not you're atheist, Hindu, Muslim, whatever you are. I encourage you to give it a shot. But then what also I have noticed is there's something just innately, that feels innately true and comforting about the idea that there's, basically a world adjacent to our world, the spirit world, whatever you want to call it, adjacent to our world, where we go to, and we, heal and have things that love us eternally, and then we reincarnate back onto the earth for learning experiences. There's something innately just good feeling about that. It gives you an incredible amount of comfort. It allows you to see other people in, a really positive light, that you all come from the same source, you're all connected, you're all on this same learning journey together. And so for me, I just take stories into account, believe that they're true, and test out how the world changes, how my perception of the world changes with when I take beliefs on. And if it's a net positive change, I just decide to keep those stories. So, doing that with reading things from the Bible, from the Bhagavad Gita, from people out in the world, YouTubers, podcasters, influencers, people I meet, bosses, people tell me beliefs or stories that they have. And before I kind of run it through the filter of, all my other things that I know to be true, because what I'm realizing more and more as I get older is I don't know shit about shit, and that we're barely, we're just highly functioning, like clothed apes who are kind of riding on the shoulders of all the people before us and pretending like we know, like, I really don't think we understand as much as we like to think we understand. I think it's just a comfort to us. But the point is, before, when I hear a belief or something, before I run it through my, filter of all the other things that I've known before, I like to just take it on as true and just see what happens when I believe that thing. Even crazy stuff, that people, if people tell me, like if people tell me the earth is flat, what does it feel like when I believe that? When I believe that, I go out, I just am met with a plethora of contraindications that make that just annihilate that belief. Like number one, just being able to see that the Earth is spherical, that we're inside this spherical thing. It's just nothing about everything. I'm just met with so many contraindications that belief gets churned out and tossed aside. And that can be true of many. I don't want to, I absolutely do not want to debate religion, because I am not a theologian and I only know surface level things about each religion. I just, kind of passively read things and, take in little bits while I can. But I find that, when I take in certain, religious beliefs from different religions, and I go out and I test that hypothesis in the world, it makes some of those beliefs make the world either scarier, darker, more competitive. They make it worse in different ways. And so, I just take those beliefs and chuck them aside, because in the end, we are just story machines, and our consciousness and our perception of the world is so malleable and so easy to change if you allow it to be. And you just, test certain things out. Having values and having, stating certain values that you treat others like you want to be treated. You take that and you go and, you take that belief out into the world and you start doing it, and it quickly manifests as like, okay, this works. This is a good belief to take into account. You go out and don't say negative things about other people. Don't think negative things about other people, was something I'm very guilty of, and just training myself not to. And a lot of those negative things that I used to think, I thought them knowing that they were a reflection of myself, knowing why I was doing it, and almost doing it with a satire or like an internal comedic relief to life. And it still doesn't work. It has negative consequences in many, many ways. So I'm training myself not to think negative things about anyone at any time, no matter how much negative emotion they invoke in me. And it's almost, I'm far from having perfected this practice. But as I do it, I know, it's very easy to see that this principle or this value where you don't say or think negative things about people, it's very easy to, quickly see that it has, positive effects on your life, your mindset, everything. And so, but like on that vein, what makes that easier? What makes it easier not to think things about negative people? Well, if you believe that we're all from one source and we're created from one thing, and that we're all a piece of this thing and kind of one component. So therein, everyone is you, or a piece of you, or a reflection of you and part of you. Then all of a sudden, if you see everyone else as, if you're thinking negative things about them, you're actually thinking negative things about yourself, about whatever created us. And if you do harm to them or say negative things to them, you're actually hurting yourself in some way. Now, it makes it easier not to think or do negative things towards other people. So that belief that we're all of one thing, when you take it on and take it as a belief and you test it out in the world, you start to see that it's a positive feedback loop. So might as well keep that belief on board. Whether or not, I don't know how to prove that that's true. And I think there's so many people wasting time trying to prove things, are undoubtedly true or not true, when, for most of us, it's, there's someone can be out there fighting that fight, but for most of us, the power is always in the things that can't be proven. That's why, that's the magic. That's the key. Is if it would be so easy, to believe certain, it'd be so easy to believe things if we could prove them to be infallibly true with 100% certainty. That would be great. That would make it super easy to believe them, but it's no fun that way. It's not a challenge. It's not it doesn't, there's no scarcity in it if it's obvious. You have to, that's the tenet of faith. It's literally the foundation of every religion is having faith despite it not being able to be proven. And I totally understand how that's where the magic is. But anyways, I think I will actually be back to sharing my regular videos. I just had to break through this little mental barrier to talking, about spiritual stuff. It's not what I wanted to be here doing. I wanted to be here talking about, stem cell therapies, exercises, diets, supplements, and, sleep methods, whatever, all the easy surface level stuff that, doesn't, invoke as much debate or judgment, but it's not the truth. It's not what I'm thinking about, and it's not what is allowing me to make tremendous strides forward in my own relationship with myself. My relationship with every single person in my life is improving immensely. My excitement for the future, the clarity with which I move forward in what I'm doing, everything, every single measure of, life that you can have feels incredibly positive to me. I have just erased so many fears that have been holding me back for 10, 20 years in the last 10 days. Just all of this, because now all of a sudden I'm, I feel like I'm not alone, and have been able to kind of lift this, what I didn't even realize was like this like static anxiety and fear of death that I had, that I didn't even know was there or recognize really, or pretended like it wasn't there. It's just been a wild ride, and I've set out to, as best as I can, share my journey with people so that they can press the fast forward button and not make the same mistakes I've made, not waste. I wasted 5 years of valuable time healing my spinal cord injury, doing things I love. I wasted so much time. I wasted 20 years where I just suffered in intense, miserable, fucked up pain every day, emotional, mental disorder and fear and just doubt and fucked upness, because I didn't do this work, when I was 13 years old. Not that I could have done it, but, my poor parents, they still haven't learned or discovered this work because they didn't have any mentors or teachers either. They had way more fucked upness and trauma. They did amazing for what they got handed as children. And so, yeah, it would have been fantastic if my father or some other member, older male member of my tribe, shaman or chief, or just someone that I looked up to in the tribe, had taken me out when I was taking me out when I was 12, 13 years old for 5 days into the wilderness for a fast and some sort of, potentially, psychoactive journey, and explained all of this to me, And then over the course of, my developmental years from 13 to 18, explained that I had, spiritual guidance that I could call on, that I was an eternal being. If someone had given me this entire story when I was 13 years old and, locked in the truth with breath work practices and fasting and hardships in the wild, wow, that would have been really fantastic. I could have saved, thousands of hours of intense emotional pain, suffering, confusion, horrific decisions, really callous, hurtful, painful acts of evil that I perpetrated in the world that scarred and fucked up, many people whom I loved, who trusted me and put their, trust into me as a person. I could have prevented all of that, and that is just my dream. My dream is to just prevent and remove as much suffering from the world as possible. That dream became forged in stone when I was sitting basically curled up in the fetal position, covered in my own shit on the bathroom floor with rhabdomyolysis, my back shattered in 20 places, and just my legs, spasming and skinny, and my whole body was just deformed and disgusting. And I was in more pain than I knew could ever exist, more suffering than I knew could ever possibly even potentially exist without dying. I did not know there was real, literal hell to be experienced on earth over and over again, every second of every day, for weeks, for months, I didn't know it could go on and on and on like that, just the physical anguish. And in that moment of peak suffering, all I wanted in the world was just to take away as much pain from other people as possible. And that moment was about 5 years ago for me, and I'm finally piecing together the puzzle. I'm finally, have my piece of the puzzle at least to put on the board, and now I want to connect with and find other people who want to do that same thing. I've got a couple brilliant ones in mind already that I'm starting to connect with and talk to, and be like, let's give me your piece of the puzzle, give your knowledge to me, I'll share what I know to you. Let's put this together so we can help people piece themselves back together, because we are broken as a society. Name someone in your life who's truly, fully actualized, happy, excited about the future, financially stable, in great relationships, and surrounded by people they love, doing what they love all day, every day. There's not many in my life, that's for damn sure. And I know a lot of people. I know a lot of brilliant people who are partway there, but they're, we don't have a tribe. And I believe to kind of completely get to a place of, blissful, happy creation, it takes a tribe. It takes a ton of people working together on something with, a certain set of values and an end goal in mind to even stand a chance out there. And none of us, I'm alone. I'm lonely all the time. Almost everyone I know is lonely all the time. And I have brilliant people that I connect with and I hang out with, intermittently, but it's not like we're all together a lot of the time working on these, fundamental problems of feeling loved, of feeling complete, of accepting, your shadow self, of becoming, of strength training and becoming stronger and more resilient in the world. And it's not like we're getting together and working on these problems. And that's what I want to be doing. That's why I want to wake up every day and wake up every day and be surrounded by people who want to push the boundaries of their own understanding of themselves and their own limits. And I want to build a tribe around that, because I think that's the bare minimum you need to just not feel shitty all the time. At least that's what I need to not feel shitty all the time. I don't want to, wake up and go to work and basically, you know, just sacrifice my time so I can get a little bit of money and then spend it on consumer products to make our corporate overlords rich. And I know that's a bit, extreme to some people, but that is literally what you're doing. There's a culture completely designed by, the story that we're taking on board is given to us through advertising and movies and posts and things, the marketing that is basically designed by giant mega corporations to siphon money up to them, which isn't, I'm not even blaming them as like an inherently evil thing, because we have the freedom. It's not like it's hidden, you know what I mean? It's in plain sight. We have complete freedom to see what's going on, and the beauty of America as it stands right now, or the West for the most part in general, the West as it stands right now, is we have the ability and freedom to extricate ourselves for the most part. You're still going to pay taxes and do things, and you're still going to get some level of money siphoned from you for sure. But for the most part, we have the freedom to kind of extricate ourselves from the drama of that and, live pretty free. And so that's my spiel for day number 84. I can say with quite a bit of confidence in this moment that I will be back uploading my videos every day. And that's it for now. I'm going to go hit a very quick workout by the pool. I'm going to do a little bit of riding. It's Saturday. I was supposed to go surfing today, but my brake calipers are still messed up on my van. I got a temporary solution to the caravan of dreams, but not a permanent fix. So have to go get the calipers warranty because I had them replaced earlier this year. But the bottom line is I didn't get to go surfing today, which sucks because that's my normal Saturday activity. But I am going to go work out, do some writing, clean up my house a little bit, and then I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.